Now we've got Night, and we've got Shoko, so lovely. Animaga, welcome to them. So we've got a few fun things planned. We're gonna start with some questions, and then we're gonna hand it over to you guys if you guys have any questions, and then
Hello.
that wasn't quite in our planned fun things. Hello? Alright. Sorry everyone. But yeah, no. After the guest questions, we'll have a little dance party. I hope you guys all know the nut bush. But if you don't, that's all right. I'll be teaching. So yeah, get excited for that. Did you guys want to give a quick introduction for our guests?
Hi everyone, I'm Shookoboo. I'm a cosplayer from Singapore. I've been cosplaying for 13 years and I'm very glad to be here. I feel more free compared to yesterday too because I don't have two big tails holding me back today, so yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Night. I'm a cosplayer based in Australia and I've been cosplaying for 14 years now. Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be back in Melbourne.
Hello everyone, I'm Shunsuke from Switzerland. I'm known to be a cosplayer but also a photographer, and I've been doing this for about 11 years. I'm super excited to be here in Australia as it's my first time, and I hope I can meet you all later for a little chit chat.
Good. All right. So yesterday we had a bit more of a general conversation, asking about how they got into cosplay, other stuff like that. Today we're going to get a bit more into the nitty-gritty. So we're going to talk about wig styling, some makeup techniques, that kind of thing. Does that sound good? Sweet. So I'll dive right in. When styling your wigs, do you use crimpers? Or do you prefer straighteners or hair? Like, what kind of products do you use and which looks do you prefer?
Personally, I don't use crimpers because I don't know how. It's not like something I kind of dwelled into, but I do use hair straighteners. But the thing that I use to style my wigs the most is actually just pure hairspray. So this whole thing is just hairspray. Yeah, that's normally how I do it. I kind of section off my wigs first to kind of get the general shape, and then from there I kind of work it out, like layering and thinning and everything.
I also don't use crimpers. I've tried before, but I'm not so good at, I guess when I crimp it, even when you're brushing it out, there's still those lines. So I kind of go like, there's the old school way of just like spraying it, teasing it, hair drying it, and then brush it out. And you do that a few times, it gets very fluffy. So it takes so much longer, but for me, I just prefer that result a bit more. It's a bit more clean for my taste. Mostly just using hairspray, and I use hair wax, specifically the Gatsby hair wax. It's like the pink one. I think that one is probably the best hair wax you can use for wigs, especially if you're wanting very defined pieces in your wigs, like really thin strands, kind of giving that like drawn hair anime look. I think the Gatsby, yeah, that one is really, really useful. So that's what I usually use.
When it comes to synthetic wigs, I do it pretty similar to Nai, I believe, but the order of things, I do it like first I will style it, like cut it, style it with heat, so usually the iron or the hairdryer, and at the very end I use got2b hairspray or Gatsby. But most of the time actually I use human hair wigs. It's not the case today, but for human hair wigs the process is very different because the fibers are reacting really differently to like the heat, the way you can style. Like So the process for human hair wigs, I really enjoy using those heat comb. Like it's a sort of comb that gets really hot, and you can really brush the hair on the lace to give it the direction you want, and you can use wax after that to like secure the direction of the root of the hair. Usually with human hair wigs as well, I start off with a bleach blonde color, and I will dye the wig blah 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 blah. Yep. So it gives me a lot of control over the color. I can, for the coloring process, the good thing with it is that usually you can, as it's not on your head, you can shove it in a sort of bucket. So you can do several dyeing process, so you can achieve one slowly result you want. Sorry, I'm a bit confused with the way to explain that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. The advantage of human hair wigs is also that you can get full lace, which is a lace that covers the entire scalp, and it allows for example, really realistic ponytails or like little pigtails in the wig. It will really look like there's a proper root all around. So that's really nice. And nowadays on AliExpress you can find fairly cheap options, like maybe like a bob length bleach blonde can be around $80 US, $90 US. It's not cheap, but it's the price of some synthetic wigs, to be honest. So yeah. Sorry I took so long.
With wigs, do you find that spending that extra dollar will go the extra mile when you are purchasing your wigs?
Absolutely, especially because I cosplay a lot of male characters that have very short hair, like the almost shaved sides. I can achieve the look really much easier. And on top of that, the advantage of human hair wigs is that I can dye them over time. So for example, I wear it for a blonde character and then like a light brown and then a black, so I can just dye it over and over and repurpose the wig several times.
And sorry, just because you do use human hair wigs, do you use human hair color to dye them, or do you use the synthetic dyes and stuff to dye them?
Like for natural hair, although it would not dye with synthetic dye, as synthetic dye is really made for plastics. Basically, it would not dye on human hair. So it's really convenient because you can go to any like hair salon store and find so many different colors.
Just gonna hydrate real quick. It's coming. All right, just while we hydrate, Shock off to the side. Continue, if that's okay. So, since you guys have been cosplaying for such a long time, if you look back to where you started, what was the one thing that you'd probably go back and like learn sooner, if you could, to like improve when you started?
For many years, I didn't really understand the concept of, oh, I can use a pre-made pattern and alter it. So I was really going off like trying to pattern things, like copying some clothes I would tore apart. But what made my costumes a lot worse because it was very ill-fitted and not properly traced, while actually using a pre-made pattern and just altering it is a lot more easy. And it's like actually skipping a lot of extra work that when you don't know anything about patterning, you'll do wrong. So I'd say patterns, using pre-made patterns and altering them is really something I would do if I was to start cosplay today.
I think what I wish that I learned sooner in my cosplay journey was things like alterating clothes and stuff like that. Like, I guess before when I was much younger, I didn't have so many resources to like make costumes from scratch. So either like I would like buy a lot of costumes back in the day, and I guess the way that it fits, I never really altered those kind of sizing of costumes, because I think the overall structure and the sizing of the costume is really important. And back then, like, I didn't really know how to alter costumes. So yeah, that was like one thing I wish I kind of did before. But I used to do a lot of things, like go to like the thrift stores, like Vinnie's and like Salvation Army like stuff, and get secondhand clothes, and I would kind of like alter it from there, but kind of bought costumes. I was a little like scared, like, oh, I want to fix the sizing, but I'm a bit nervous to ruin the costume. So yeah, I wish I kind of pushed myself to do that a bit more when I first started out.
The question was, if you could go back in like time, was there anything you wish you knew now, like any like techniques or that you would learn earlier?
First of all, I want to apologize. I ran off because I choked on probably dust, and I'm really sensitive to that, so I apologize. But secondly, for me, I think what I wish I knew before I
Like when you first started out, what were like some techniques or yeah, I guess just techniques that you would learn
honestly,
earlier? You'd
I
want to
think
learn earlier.
personally, I wish I knew how to cleanse my makeup. Like one issue that I used to not know is how to cleanse your face properly after applying layers and layers of makeup. So that kind of like ruins your skin a lot. Yeah, and I kind of wish I knew how to do that, because there are like different ways to cleanse your face. Not just pure makeup remover, but there's like cleansing oil and everything. So I kind of wish I knew that before, but like eventually, yeah, you kind of learn from like, you know, just asking people, like, you know, everything.
Do you have like a skincare routine? Like, would you want to share your skincare routine?
I think now, whenever I remove makeup, it's just purely like after removing everything, face wash and like moisturizer and everything. But afterwards, like my daily skincare routine is at least 6 to 7 steps. Yeah, and it changes per week. So yeah.
Do you guys find that like before putting on makeup, any like skin prep helps to help like your makeup last throughout conventions or through photo shoots?
Personally, setting spray, every layer. Yeah, so like color correcting, setting spray, foundation, setting spray. It just keeps going, so it lasts you the whole day. It kind of kicks up a little bit at the end, but it doesn't, like, compared to not using setting spray at all, or like just a singular layer, this survives like the whole day. Yeah.
I agree with Shoko. As someone that has really oily skin, I guess throughout the day, like, yeah, it gets really, really shiny. So I do the same thing of like setting spray throughout each layer. I would say, oh yeah, I guess preparing my skin for makeup. The night before, I put on, like, you know, when you're cosplaying, I have very, very heavy makeup on my face. So usually the night before, I'll use like a face mask, and that really helps. Like the next day, your skin will feel really refreshed. Also, before I do my makeup, I always wash my face in the morning, and then I put toner, because I have somewhat like uneven skin tone as well. So that everything is, some patches are dry and some are oily, so that helps a lot. And also primer. I would not recommend primer enough. I think it's quite important, especially if you have combination skin, or if you're a bit more on the drier side of skin as well. Primer is really, really useful. Yeah. I would really recommend those 3 things.
I mean, everyone's skin is different, so obviously you need to find your own way that works for you. But personally, I use retinoids, which it's an agent that basically helps with wrinkling and also acne in general. However, it's pretty aggressive for the skin, so you need to balance it with a lot of moisturizing because it dries you out a lot. And it also makes your skin peel much faster than if you were not using anything. So personally, the important thing I always do is the night before I put a really thick moisturizer or maybe moisturizing face mask. And in the morning, I actually cleanse my face with pure jojoba oil before I actually cleanse it with like foam cleanser. And it really helps. The oil being rubbed on the skin, pure oil, really helps breaking down the dead skin, because that's what I struggle a lot with. And the base is much smoother for the makeup to be applied afterwards. But that's really personal, like as I'm using those creams, like my skin reacts a certain way. It depends on people, obviously.
After events and photo shoots and things, do you guys kind of give your skin like a day or so to breathe before doing other things, or is the schedule too packed for any relaxing time?
I don't know, it's hard to say because my schedule is really, really busy. Yeah, my schedule's super busy, so I'm traveling a lot overseas for different events and stuff. Sometimes it's even like back-to-back like weekends. Like I'll be in one country for a weekend and then the other country another weekend. So I would say at least like I have a few days to have my skin rest. And usually when I go out, just normally I never wear makeup. Like I never wear makeup because my cosplay makeup is already so heavy. Like even from yesterday, I can already see, I'm very prone to getting acne. So already because I was wearing such heavy makeup yesterday, I'm starting to break out a little bit as well. So I'm like, oh, okay, like, yeah, that's the bad side to it. But I think it's quite important to give your skin breaks when you can. Because in the end, you're really putting so much crap onto your face. It's not good for your skin, but yeah.
We were talking a little bit backstage about male makeup versus female makeup, and I was just wondering if you could tell us a bit about how different the process is for each of those.
Yeah, I guess for me personally, male makeup is much easier than girls' makeup. I guess in a sense, I personally think I just look a bit better male cosplay. I think because of my features, I have like quite a long nose and it's a lot easier for me to replicate like, you know, anime boys aesthetic. So with girls makeup, there's a lot more steps to it for me personally. I try to make my features like much more different in the sense like my eyes really, really big, and I put blush on for girls cosplay compared to guys. I don't usually put blush. Also just like contouring my nose like a bit shorter, making my lips bigger, eyelashes as well, fake eyelash. Oh my god, there's so many steps. So yeah, the overall like I guess contouring your face to be looking a bit more like softer and sweet looking is, for me personally, more time consuming. Yeah. But with male cosplay, I'm kind of just like following the lines of like my natural features, so it's not like I'm trying to change the way that, yeah, I don't know. It's a bit of a different process, but yeah. Girls makeup, I'm just, oh.
I have the opposite problem. I've got very round face, features and things. So do you think that you just failed it all by trial and error as you were going, just practicing where to highlight, where to contour and things?
Yeah, it was a lot of trial and error for sure. I think like over the years, cosplaying for so long, I've changed makeup styles so much. I guess when I first started cosplaying, I would really reference a lot of cosplayers like in the past that I would see online, and they have like much different features to me, or like, you know, different like eye shapes, different nose shapes, things like that. And trying to replicate that kind of makeup style on my face just obviously it's trial and error. It never really worked out. And so over time, I would just kind of, try different styles and see what suited me best, and kind of working with the features that I had and trying what looks the most flattering on my face. Yeah, so it's really trial and error, but I think it's really useful to use references from other people as well, especially if someone have similar features to you, then that can really help out. Yeah, but it's a lot of trial and error.
Looking back at earlier photos of you guys and things, have you seen that you have made a huge makeup journey from where you started, and what are some of the biggest differences that you see from where you started to now?
To be honest, not so much. I like to keep my makeup very, very, very subtle. I usually do quite a lot of steps. It's just that each step is as subtle as possible. But it really depends on your face, as Knight said. With my features, when I would try a bit stronger makeup, I feel it just looks quite off. So I like to keep it very simple. But one dramatic change I had with my face is lasering my beard. Makes such a difference, because I'm half Portuguese. I'm pretty hairy. I mean, not anymore. But I was having a pretty massive beard, and even cleanly shaved in the morning, there would be a massive gray cast over my face, and even with makeup, it would just add texture over it. Because as well, when you shave, you still have sort of bumps where the pores are growing hair. So for me, that made a massive difference when it comes to cosplay. My face looks a lot more younger as well without the beard. But that's commitment. I cannot have a beard in my everyday life anymore, which sometimes I miss a little bit, I guess, but I don't know, it was worth it. I don't regret it at all.
Yeah, I would say I changed a lot over the years with my makeup. I think back in the day, I used to do very heavy anime makeup. I mean, I can't say much now because I also have very heavy makeup for Misa, depending on, the character. But yeah, I think over the years, my makeup style got more natural. Yeah, I used to really love, I think back then, the aesthetics of cosplay also changed so much over the years as well. I think kind of remembering back in the day, everyone would kind of draw the very heavy anime shaped eyes and things like that, which for some people it looks really good, but for me I was looking back, I'm oh my god, that looked terrible on me. And the foundation on the lips everyone kind of did that back then, in early 2010.
We were trying to
Yeah, I'm just oh god, it's, so I think with my makeup style, it kind of changed over the time as well, with the different styles, everyone, yeah, I don't know, it really changed a lot, but it was much heavier before. And now, for male cosplay specifically, I go a bit more on the natural side as well, yeah.
For me, I would definitely say it changed a lot. Because back in the day with my makeup, I used to have really, I used to draw my eyes even thicker and heavy. So it made my eyes it was really, it's very different from compared to now. In Singapore, there used to be this trend. It was so bad, never do this, but it used to be we used to go to events and we used to be how many layers of foundation have you stacked on your face? And people have said 5 or 6. I'm that used to be a thing in Singapore, and now you don't do that. That's a really, really bad thing. But that used to be a thing back in the day, and then we all learned that yeah, your skin can't breathe, and it doesn't make you look any more flawless than you do if you put 1 or 2 layers, But yeah, I would say it changed pretty drastically compared to before. And especially the lips. That one was, oh my god.
All right, thank you for answering our questions. We're now going to hand it over to the audience. So if you would like to, I'm just going to run at the front. So if anyone has any questions, just raise your hand now and I'll come run over to you. Any questions? Doesn't have to be makeup related or wig related. How do you deal with heat at conventions when wearing so many layers?
We don't, like, isn't
I mean, there's not much you can do apart from like trying to make good choices of costume for certain events. Like if you're expecting the event to be very warm, try not wearing 5 layers of like jackets and coats. That's pretty much it. Like this event is actually very cold, so I'm wearing a bit more. But usually for events in summer, I try to be as naked as possible. Like when I started, obviously I didn't care at all, and I had a lot of regrets. I had a lot of experiences where I almost passed out on the floor from heat. So
Yeah, that's a really hard question. I would say the same in the sense, like depending on the weather, like I would try and go for a more cooler, lighter costume. However, depending, because I do work with like a lot of clients and events overseas, and sometimes they do request a certain cosplay that I need to wear if I'm working with a client. And you know, a lot of the time I'm working in Southeast Asia, which is very, very hot, and I'm wearing like a full bodysuit or something, so I'm dying on the inside, but I can't do much about it. I guess because of that, like, you know, I am, luckily I don't really sweat on my face, which is good. I only sweat on like my body, which is, my makeup doesn't get ruined. But, you know, on the really hot kind of countries and days, I tend to bring like a little compact, transparent powder with me around. So, you know, when I have the chance, I can touch up my makeup a bit if it's getting a little shiny. But yeah, I mean, I guess for people that's just more like for fun and hobby-wise, just wear more lighter, lighter costumes. Yeah, it'll help. You don't want to pass out.
Find the nearest air-conditioned room. That's it. Because I live in Singapore. It's really humid there. It's really warm. Or just Southeast Asia in general. Yeah. So we don't have a choice. We kind of live with it. So we kind of just gotta, you know, just find the nearest cold room and survive.
All right, any more questions?
Hey guys, how's it going? I'm just wondering about, hi Misa. I'm just wondering about when you guys first started, obviously not necessarily now, but when you first started, how did you guys go about upfront costs with doing your cosplays? How much was sort of handmade versus bought? And like, did you guys just fund it as a hobby? I'm just kind of curious about that whole process.
Sorry, give us a moment.
So when I started, I was about 15. I was a student back then, and I started, I would say, about 80-90% hand making my costumes. When it comes to costs, I'm from pretty much middle class family, so I didn't have much pocket money. A little bit. I'm from Switzerland, so things are very expensive there, but it's really not an advice. But what I did back then was I had a daily allowance for food, and I was eating bread, which is pretty bad, but well, I guess it kept me skinny back then. But yeah, I had to cut corners where I could, and it was on like, instead of this massive pizza, I'll have more like cheaper food, and that's pretty much it as a student. Now, obviously, it's my job, so like I generate much more money than as a student. But I pretty much still have the same, not the same, but a similar mindset when it comes to costs. Like, I prioritize cosplay a lot over most other things. I try to cook at home most of the time. I try to avoid overspending on things like clothing or, yeah, just, I guess it's a choice you have to make if you want to be able to, especially when you want quality costumes, like they can cost quite a lot of money. Even if you hand make them, materials can go pretty high, so.
Yeah. For me, back when I first started, I also just handmade all of my costumes. I guess because, you know, in 2010, there weren't really like online cosplay shops for you to buy stuff. So that's why I would say like our generation of cosplayers mostly just handmade things back in the day. Even like with wigs and stuff like that, we would like hand dye them with like markers and you know, so yeah, it really, I guess being in Australia, you can really, not so much now, but back then I would say I could really cut costs on like fabrics. I would get like the really cheap, you know, like just plain cottons or satins, like really $2, $3 a meter or something. So that's what a lot of my costumes were made of back then. And also like thrifting. I did a lot of that in like secondhand stores and finding something that really looks similar to the original and then alterating it. I did that a lot and it saved me a lot of money. Yeah. But I guess over time, now because it's my job as well, it depends. Like sometimes the client will give me the costume, or sometimes I have to make it from scratch. And I would say now, I find it's more cheap for me to actually buy a costume than to make it from scratch. Actually, it's really weird how that kind of changed over the years. I guess with like, you know, fast fashion and everything, there's a lot of like online cosplay stores that can provide decently like high quality costumes for a very cheap price. Yeah, kind of, let's say like Genshin character, for example, if I were to make that character from scratch, it would cost hundreds and hundreds of dollars. But then online, you know, the cost of that costume could be $100 or $200 Australian, you know. So it really depends, but I am also very particular on the quality of my work, so I'm not always the biggest fan of bought costumes, but that's just because it's my taste. I really love different like details of fabric and textures in my outfits. So yeah, it's just all to do with taste as well, and you know, experience. I've been sewing for a very long time, so yeah, it depends. But if it works for you, then and it's much cheaper to buy, then that's really, really good. Yeah.
I think for me, back in the day, it's also the same for everyone here, where we basically just go to thrift shops and we kind of modify what we think would be like. We kind of see the base and we kind of modify it and see how we can change it to look as accurate as it can be to the characters. But eventually for Singapore itself, we actually had like a bit more of an early access to the costumes as well. So you start seeing like costumes coming in, people started ordering costumes and stuff. So I think my transition was a lot quicker compared to like maybe Australia and like everywhere else. But yeah, back in the day, it's more thrifting, I would say.
Yeah, awesome. Were there any more questions? We'll do this last one and then we're gonna do the nut bush. So I hope everyone's ready for that. I just wanted to say congratulations on K-Talent Entertainment, you know, starting. So I guess Animaga here can count as Shunsuke's and Shoko's like first international con under the agency, I'm assuming. So then I was just asking, would you guys have plans to go to other parts of the world?
like together under the agency. Thank you so much. I guess for those that don't know, I opened a talent agency last year in August for cosplayers and models, artists, VTubers. So we've been running for 1 year now, but we've done official announcements of all the talents just in the last like few weeks, I would say. This is like the first event that we are together as an agency, talents. So I brought Shun and Shoko. So yeah, for sure I would love to bring them to more international events in the future. We were supposed to have Ari Darian with us as well, but yeah, she wasn't able to make it this time. So hopefully next time we can have the 4 cosplay talents in one event. I'll do my best.
Can we just get a round of applause for them starting this agency? All right, could I get the volleys to come move the tables back and we can start learning?
Alright, I'm just gonna be yelling now. But hands up if you know it. Oh my god, guys, I'm Australian. Why do I see like 5 hands? Oh my god. Alright. So it's like 2 counts of 8. And it's pretty simple. First we step to the right. Bring it in and step to the right again. So going 1, 2. Then we step to the left. 1, 2. Then we step back. 1, 2. Switch to the left leg. 1, 2. Now we're gonna kick it with our knees up twice and switch legs again. Actually, it's not. This is where it's not 2 counts. You're just gonna kick out right, kick out left. And then we're gonna go jump out, and then in, and then out. You turn 90 degrees. Yeah, I turn right. So out, in, out. Yeah? We're gonna do that again. Alright, yeah. Alright. Ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How do we feel about that? Alright, after that, we're going to do the same thing, but facing the way that you just turned. How many times do you need to do this? Till the song ends. You don't actually have to though. Alright. I'll get a song. Yeah. Oh, you guys ready for the music? Or would you like one more practice? One more practice? Let's just do the music. Alright. I'll count us in. Can everyone hear that?
How do you feel now that you know that Australian classic line dance?
I think it's really cute, but the fact that I have to do it like throughout the whole song, so that's probably like 2 rounds.
I feel great.
It really brought me back to my primary school days. I remember when I came to Australia, like I was so surprised, like learning the nutbush here. I was like, what the heck? But it's super fun, I don't know, very nostalgic for me. I'm very happy to do that again.
Well, that's everything we have today for our wonderful cosplay guest panel questions. So thank you all so much for coming down and spending time with us down here. Thank you everybody in the audience for joining us with the nutbush. Yeah, thank you all again. Thank you.
I thought it was just one, and then we started rotating.
You can